I don't mind telling you, I am really quite happy right now. I'm very happy to be able to talk about Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, a game that we have waited a very long time for, ever since its successful Kickstarter campaign, which I am a backer of, primarily out of spite. Because Konami is Konami, and Konami is the worst, they had no interest in making new Castlevania games that weren't largely pachinko-based crap. A true proper Metroidvania style Castlevania game was not on the cards through the official Castlevania publisher, so they just went ahead and did it themselves using crowdfunding backing. So out of that sense of spite towards Konami, I felt compelled to kick in cash for this one. Aside from the fact that, you know, I really like Symphony of the Night. But you really want to know whether this game lives up to the hype, whether it was worth the massive wait, and oh my, yes. Yes, it's exactly what it needs to be, everyone. It is exactly the Castlevania experience that was missing. This is the one, if you've been a big fan of the Castlevanias before Konami made Lords of Shadow into a thing, before they kept trying to make them into pachinko machines or mobile spin-offs. If you want a good old, ruddy, proper Metroidvania, this is the one. Oh my yes! It looks gorgeous. They actually retouched the graphics after a very bold move in which they put out a trailer video that showed people just tearing into it. That's a show of confidence. That they showed legit comments from people just pouring scorn on the visual direction of it. And then they went ahead and tooled everything back up. So it, in my opinion, looks fantastic. The animations for both the player character of Miriam and the various monsters, all of which are just wonderful in terms of their creature design. All the animations are exquisite, but not in a way that impacts the game. Sometimes, especially with side-scrollers, you can over-animate characters so that they feel unresponsive because they're too busy cycling through all of their lovely frames. But here it's both deliciously animated and very tight to play. Combat has a whole bunch of options going in. There are a ludicrous number of weapons and different weapon styles that you can unlock, from swords to whips to guns if you so wish. An entire crafting and food preparation system, because why not? And there's a ton of accessories and armor pieces. The accessories and hats will actually show up on the character, which is lovely. And there are all sorts of silly hats that you can find and put on if you want. At one point I was rolling around with a gas mask and a Santa hat, because you can do that. There's a whole crafting and food preparation system. If you so wish, you can make items that will heal you and also offer stat boosts. And defeating enemies offers a chance to unlock a shard pertaining to said enemy, which you can equip, and it will bestow upon you various abilities. There are different coloured shards with different methods of use. Some of them just offer straightforward attacks. There are ranged attack versions. There are passive shards that boost stats or your proficiency with certain weapons. And of course, defeating various boss monsters will give you critical shards that are used to navigate the environment. If you've played one of the Castlevanias like Dawn of Sorrow or something like that, it's very similar to that, where you defeat enemies and essentially use their souls or whatever to create various magical abilities for yourself. Director Koji Igarashi has precisely zero interest in trying to hide the fact that this is an unofficial Castlevania game. Everything from the mechanics to the general atmosphere of it, to even enemy behaviour, is meant to deliberately ape the Castlevania series. Right down to the fact that there are knights that throw axes that spin and behave like boomerangs, exactly like those enemies that are in all of the Castlevania games. In a way, it's almost shameless. It's wearing on its sleeve the fact that if this were published by Konami, it would absolutely be called Castlevania. But you know, if anyone's got the right to ape Castlevania, it's going to be the guy who left to make this game because Konami wouldn't let him make a proper Castlevania, so it all works out in the end. And I've got no problem with it. I was a little bit shocked at just how exactly like Castlevania so many of the enemies and combat mechanics are, but I've got no problem with it because it's exactly what it needed to be. This had to be a genuine, the real McCoy Castlevania in all but name, and it's exactly what we got. There are no major surprises in that other than the fact that it took such a damn long time to make, and yet is still really good. And it is a Kickstarter success story, which, after all the disappointments we've had with quite a number of them recently, we needed that. I needed to see a good crowdfunding story. I needed to see some positive news, and I needed this to be good because I am so starved of that real Castlevania feel. Lords of Shadow, I don't even know anymore. The Robert Carlyle ones, they don't bloody cut it. And Konami doesn't cut it. If you see some mustard, right, Konami's not going to cut that mustard. Not with a hot knife, not with anything. Or is it muster? No, you pass muster, and you cut mustard. What do you do with mustard? Anyway, there are lots of memorable boss fights. This is one of them. I'm not doing very good. I'm not doing very good at this game overall. If you want someone to show off how good the game can actually look in the hands of a competent person, go find the YouTube channel of a competent person. I mean, people gave me a mountain of shit for playing the game wrong the last time I did a video on it because I wasn't backstepping everywhere. I know I just like slide kicking everywhere. It feels better to do for me. Although, that said, once you get a ring later on that improves the backstep, then you do zip about when you do that. I love this game so much. I'm fighting with a big shovel at the moment in this bit. But you can have an energy whip, you can make all sorts of weird weapons. When it comes to being just downright strange, this game's got it going on. Bloodstained knows exactly what it's doing. God, it's so good. The music! How could I forget the music? I've got to talk about the soundtrack. Again, because this is a shameless follow-up to titles like Symphony of the Night. The music is on par. It's got that sort of rocky, gothy feel to it. Oh, it's great. I'm not showing you some of the deeper stuff. I've gotten a lot further than any of this footage because I haven't been able to stop playing the game. I'm thinking about playing it right now. Some of the later levels, some of the stuff I've not shown you here is absolutely gorgeous. There's the, what is it? The Halls of Termination or something of Termination, which is this resplendent golden palatial looking environment. And it's just breathtaking. It's not 100% perfect. Sometimes the environments feel a little loose. There's one particular area where it looks like you should be able to jump onto a ledge, but you clip through the environment unless you really overshoot the jump. That happens a little time, just where the visuals feel a little bit loose. Less like glitches, more like oversights, like they forgot the clipping in an area here or there, but they are very minor. The only pervasive issue I have is with the text. Dialogue text has a couple of errors in it. There's a little bit of misspelling going on, which is a shame because otherwise it is, for an indie game and a crowdfunded game, you expect there to be a lot of little tiny issues, but there aren't that many with this, I find. I think it, as far as polish goes, it's really well put together. Aesthetically amazing and true to the spirit of the series that this definitely isn't. Bloodstained is beautiful, it's fun, very hard to put down. I found myself being unable to stop playing it. I'm actually really tired this morning because I was up all night playing it, which is about the most ringing an endorsement you could offer, I think. I'm genuinely thrilled. That's how I feel about this game. I am thrilled that it's out at last, and I'm thrilled it's as good as it is. Because it had to be, and it is. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is one I could wholeheartedly recommend. If I was still doing scores, I think this would be up in the 10s, mate. Genuinely think that. God damn, it's good. Bye-bye, Miriam. Bye-bye.